Bada bing. Look at that. People are already here.
What's up, crew?
What's up? Made it in. Hello, UIG fam. I love it. Yo, what's up, guys? Hey, hey, hey. Good day, Colin. No one cares about Lucas. Hey, all. Good to see you. Hello, what's up? We got very little snow. I just put winter tires on the R8 and I took it up to the mountains, and it is the best freaking winter car. Like 600 horsepower in a low slung car with a low center of gravity, all wheel drive. Unreal. It's like a little rally car.
And that green in the snow, that's got to be a nice.
People were confused with what was going on. But if you have the opportunity to purchase vehicles you love, I never understood collectors who the cars just collected dust. I'm like, that is. I have an analogy that I won't share on YouTube, but it's just, what are you doing? Like, the car's meant to be driven. Yep. Hello, hello. All right. Awesome. Top of the morning. Hello, hello, hello. So we've got everyone's name loaded up in a random name generator, so you'll know that we're not picking favorites. I wouldn't do that. Colin would do that. I'm fairly fair. We'll spin that wheel here in about 10 minutes. We'll just kind of let people come in. Just so you know, we do have an email with everyone who submitted a photo of the book. And so if you're not live or anything of that nature, don't worry. We will get you hooked up, although being live is just double awesome. And we'll give it a week. Like, whoever wins, we're going to email them. But if for whatever reason, within a week, if for whatever reason we just don't hear from them or whatever happens, then we will make sure that it gets distributed appropriately. But I don't see that being a problem. We pretty much recognize most people who submitted. And seeing your guys' faces holding the book is awesome. Of course, we're going to use a little bit of it for marketing. I need to get this book into as many people's hands as possible. That's why we don't make any money off this book. If we do, it all goes to charity. And then we had a lot of awesome giveaway stuff. So we were giving away UIG memberships and free months and just like anything we could to get this book into people's hands. First of all, I love targets and just like going big. I'm extremely competitive with myself, but at the same time, it gets me excited to know that when I got into crypto, Colin, I did not have any kind of guidebook. And I figured for someone just getting into it, or they're in their first few years, to have like a manual. Who read the book? Hopefully everyone, unless you guys have cheated the system to be here. And maybe you haven't finished it. That would make sense. But who has started the book? Bonus points, who's finished it? If you're like me. I read a lot. Still reading it. Love it. Love it. What was your biggest takeaway? Anything pop out? My goal with reading a book is always one thing. I don't want to promote this because maybe you guys will just read a page, but I am the guy who when I start devouring a book, I am looking for one or two things. And the second I get what I need, there's been many books, like, I don't know how this will sound here, but there's many books where I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a very specific answer and I'm trying to solve a very specific problem or learn something specific. Now, not all books, because I think some books are meant to be read and experienced and like you're just extracting something that might come in handy in the future. But I would highly recommend, like, read the whole thing for sure, but don't try to implement everything. Where are you in your journey? What's the next one or two things you're looking for? And once you get them, take a note. If you want, close the book and come back to it next week or read the rest, but don't get overwhelmed and try to implement. It's one thing. Maybe that's security for you. Oh, there we go. The comment just came in. Maybe that's security. There's a chapter or two on security. Maybe it's like, oh, I know I need cold storage. Now I understand why I need it. Oh, I've kind of been holding crypto and now I kind of get why maybe generating yield with my crypto could make sense. Awesome. Maybe it's even just fiat. I think a lot of people don't understand this about fiat. If I could rip on this for a second, then we'll give Colin the mic to add some insight here. But what most people don't understand with fiat is everyone here talks about inflation, I'm sure. Like, it's a sexy topic that people like to Ooh, you're gonna like our second book, Eric. It is done. I stayed up I've just been crushing it. And on the weekend, I went crazy. And then yesterday, I woke up at 2 a.m. and like a madman. I'm the kind of dude when my mind is made up on one thing, everything else stops. It doesn't matter. And I set a pretty tight deadline for me to get it done. I figure when I set a tight deadline and I commit to it, my creativity just goes on overdrive. You find a way to get it done. It's all psychology. It's kind of like the hidden chapters. So the stuff that didn't make it into this book, I had 330 pages written the first time, and a huge part of it was the psychology and mindset. We ended up cutting out most of it, but there's going to be a second book that's coming out, which I'll let you guys know about. That's all the psychology and mindset. Back to inflation. People are like, oh, well, it devalues the currency, so everything just gets more expensive to buy. And that's true. But it's such like a disempowering position because it's like, well, like I guess I just can't do anything about it. I don't know if we understand how inflation actually works, but money is printed. It's not actually printed. It's just buttons are clicked and it's distributed. But it's also not like everyone in the country doesn't get dollars when money is printed. The money has to go somewhere. And it ultimately just positively impacts three types of people. And what's cool is you can be in, well, two of these camps. The third one, you could, but I'll say that most of us, including me, probably will get into it. So there's three. There's the debtors, government being the biggest debtor. So think like Ave. Colin teaches this, right? You borrow, and if you can pay back when the actual asset is cheaper, you've made money. And the same kind of idea, if you think about it, is the government owns a lot of money. So do asset holders. If you have real estate or if you're leveraged, just you have debt. And when money is printed, that money becomes more worthless, but you still own the same amount. So chances are your asset is gaining in value, but your debt stays the same. So it positively impacts debtors, which I know we're not taught this. It's like debt is bad. It's like, well, is it? Because if money's being printed, you kind of want to take on as much debt. Like this system, the system that we're in is kind of programmed that way. It's actually how more money is created. So it's like a double whammy. But anyways, government is the biggest debtor, so it impacts them the most. They owe a bunch of money. Well, let's just print more of it, but we have the same amount of debt. Is that making sense, Colin?
Yeah,
Same
it does
with
make
an
sense.
Aave, BTC. You want to go short. It's not the same idea because we're not exchanging currencies, but you get the point. So the debtors are rewarded. Any of us could be debtors as long as you take on smart debt. Is it okay if I riff off topic here? Let me know in the comments. We'll get into the giveaway in like 5-10 minutes, but I'm passionate about this because this is the shit that this is what should piss you off. This is the shit that's never taught. So debtors. Two is asset holders. Are all of us in here asset holders? You should be. Like, do you own a little bit of Bitcoin, which to me is like, I think actually one of the better long-term assets to hold. But all of us should be asset holders in some way, shape, or form. So congrats. You are at least on the right side of inflation. What's cool with crypto DeFi is anyone can become an asset holder now. And so it benefits us asset holders because typically when the money printers go, it's not an instant thing. And we say money printers, it's not, it's digital. Assets, sometimes it's priced in, but we're talking on, well, oftentimes it is priced in. You can see what happens when there's a Fed meeting coming up and everyone's kind of pricing that in. Bitcoin, crypto just swing more widely because there's less market cap, but you get the point. And corporations. The money will always flow to the corporations. And you may be asking why. Well, they have more. This is a complex topic. It's not like the money is instantly distributed to corporations, but it typically flows into the bigger corporations. And that's because people still have to spend money and corporations have more. And we're talking the really, really big companies, especially. They have more access into, how could I say it? Into raising their prices. It ultimately benefits them. So debtors, government being the biggest, the big corporations, and also that when the big corporations, inflation happens, things are more expensive. You see this every time. The little guys struggle, And the big corporations, they can take on more debt, they have more access, they have more leverage, they have more money. And it kind of, every time the money printers go crazy, it kicks a lot of the little guys out the way, which is why huge fan of capitalism. But this is really hard to say. I might get crucified here. Big fan of capitalism and free markets, but we're at a point where, like, without guardrails, when a few families can own everything, that becomes really dangerous. And then it's like gun control. This is a conversation that's not so black and white. It's like, well, where's freedom? Where's not? Who's aligned? Who makes those decisions? That gets really complex. But the point is, governments benefit the most, corporations benefit the most. We can't really do that. I don't govern a state, and I don't govern a country, and I don't have, I'm not one of the few families that owns a massive company. But then it's debtors, asset holders, which that I am, and everyone in here is. Colin, anything to add there? I know it's a loaded topic.
Yeah, it's a very big topic. To go back to the book really quick, because I think you nailed it in the first couple of chapters. And just to kind of paint a little picture. So like I help run the UIG. I'm a coach in Fast Track, and a lot of my conversations are in the weeds conversations, about strategies and really in the weeds on like how to be a DeFi operator. And when I read when you sent me like the script, if you will, of the book, I read the first few chapters. I was like, that's why I got into this game. Do you know what I mean? It was such an amazing reminder of the system that is out there. It's the reality of the situation, and how DeFi is like this new path that's being created where we can actually be a part of that system. And so when we called this the community, the underdogs, it was for a reason. It wasn't just like, what's a cool name to call this? It was like, how can we position ourselves as underdogs, as somebody that's not born into the system or has the resources or the know-how to be as part of the big dogs that what you're talking about here. How can we create a new lane that I believe, in my opinion, will go up against the big dogs? You know what I mean? So anyways, I highly recommend, if you haven't read the book, just the first few chapters was such a great reminder of the philosophy and the psychological reasons why I'm so passionate about the space. So anyways, that's what's really standing out to me.
Dude, right now. Writing the book re-inspired my passion, because I kind of forgot along the way. Like, to me, so a really big rule, this is actually in the second book we're writing, but a really big rule is like not getting emotional over your investments. Now that's a tricky one, because there's a lot of people who own Bitcoin. I might get crucified for this too, so I'm just going to say it. I'm not married to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, to me, the soundest money and a solution to a problem that no one has really figured out yet. I'm an investor. I didn't really get crypto until I read and studied the Bitcoin white paper. Then I was like, oh, infinite supply, easily divisible, self-custody. Now we could argue with the manipulation piece. Markets can be manipulated, and we can get into a very long discussion around this. But when I read it, I was like, this. Then that led me into DeFi, and I was like, this. Is it the perfect solution? Is Bitcoin the solution to absolutely everything? I'd say right now it's the best. I don't know what the future holds. My eyes are open, and I'm open-minded to something better. As of right now, I think it's the best. Now, I don't know what the future holds. Now, DeFi, it's in its infancy. There's a lot of bullshit and still clunky, and I get it. But it's the best we have. And so if that re-inspired me to how early we are, and like in 5 or 10 years, we might have different solutions, but it better be decentralized. It better be infinite supply. It better be divisible. What Bitcoin has that I think nothing else can have, it would be very hard to topple, is the network effect. It's already on government balance sheets. Banks, adoption, like it's the best we've ever had, and I just don't see it being dethroned. I mean, even the infrastructure of it, I forget the dollar amount when it comes to the infrastructure of Bitcoin, but it's massive. It would, people are like, well, I could just create a version of Bitcoin and make it 21 million. That's not the same. I guess you could create a phone, but you're not going to topple Apple anytime soon. Their network effect runs so strong, and the bigger Apple gets, the bigger their network and their integration gets. So I'm not married to Bitcoin. I'm not emotional about it. I absolutely love it, and I'd be happy to walk away with it from it tomorrow if a better solution came. I just don't see that happening in the next few decades. I just don't. And I
But
could
what
be wrong.
Bitcoin has done, what Bitcoin has done is it has shown there is a different way of doing things, right? That the fiat way, the fiat system is corrupt, it is
It's totally
malleable,
theft.
it is not the best system, if you will, right? And so what Bitcoin has done is it's inspired new projects, new things to be created with the philosophy behind Bitcoin, right? So like the incentive structure of Bitcoin, miners have an incentive to participate in the network and they get paid to do so. Like that whole incentive, not to go too deep into this because we can go in a long ways, but the incentive structure with Bitcoin alone is incredible to participate in the network. And so a lot of these other projects and new ecosystems are starting to come up saying, okay, what has Bitcoin done well? Okay, Bitcoin is really good because of these philosophies. How can we integrate that into our systems, into our ecosystems? And we're seeing a lot of really, really solid AI projects. Not to go too deep into this, but like BitTensor Tau has an incredible incentive mechanism behind their ecosystem, inspired by Bitcoin, right? So I agree with you. Everything when you're saying, Lucas, is I agree with fully. But it's really cool to see these new projects saying, okay, what has Bitcoin done well, and how can we integrate that into what we're doing? So I love this space. I mean, I could riff on this for
Oh, dude,
hours.
we got to
I
be
love
careful.
this space.
I know.
Yeah, I love this space.
We can start Jay-Z. I know. I totally know what you meant. We can extrapolate that out into blockchain tech and just the decentralization of a system that really benefits a very small amount of people on the top. And I'm not making banks bad, and like there's a time and place for it. All I know is someone in here said it, I want to move hard-earned money that I get paid in fiat, and I want to move it. Yeah, Colin, people are chatting you up. Can you thank Colin and the team for any value that they've given you? Because I don't think you guys sometimes see it, but there's always so many of these comments. I want to move it from something that is completely broken and effed, and I just want to move it into something that'll be a better store of value and that has a future chance of appreciation. And if I can create cash flow or yields from it, all the better. And if I could do that, I'm winning. So I don't I'm a huge fan of ETH, Alex. I own actually, as of right now, I own more ETH than Bitcoin, especially since Bitcoin took a massive hit. And I'm not saying for everyone else to do that. As an investor, I'm not emotional. If I had to go to sleep for 25 years and take a bet on one digital asset, it would be Bitcoin. Don't copy me. I'm just sharing my thoughts. I've done enough research, and I have enough money at play and a family that, trust me, I have really thought through this. But in a little bit more shorter time frame, we're talking years, cycles. Um, I actually have a better link for the book that will actually modify it to your
Thanks.
country code. But anyways, I think ETH is massively undervalued, especially because of the network effect. And there are some other currencies as well, or some other cryptos, I should call it, that are as well. But I don't want to get into that conversation because that's up for an infinite amount of debate from the smartest people on the planet, and we could debate it all day long. I'm going to drop a link for the book in case you guys haven't got it, and then we're going to screen share and spin the wheel. Colin, anything to add while I find that link for y'all?
No, just ignore my link because it's
No,
nice
it's
and
okay.
big. Just trying to. For
Yeah, it's all
anybody,
good.
yeah, because anybody who just joined live, I put the link inside the UIG and said, "Hey, we're going live." And for anybody that has no idea what we're doing here, right? Like Lucas wrote this book. Just to bring it back to you, Lucas wrote this book. It is phenomenal. It's so good. And for anybody that just joined the live, we don't make any money from this. All the proceeds go to the charity that we support, which I think is incredible. And because we believe in this so much, we're trying to get this into as many hands as humanly possible. And we're like, let's even do something even better. For anybody that took a picture with the book and shared it with us, we want to give away $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. So for anybody that just joined the chat, that's gets you caught up to speed. So really looking forward to doing this this next step, Lucas. This will be fun.
Let's go. And I just dropped the link. That book that'll get you there. I think the Amazon version is a couple bucks, and then the book is I don't know. I think it's like 15 or 16 or $18 or something. Amazon takes, I think, half of it, and then the other half. Yeah, we support a charity anyways. I'm looking to actually maybe expand into Pencils of Promises as well. But the charity we do supports underprivileged communities, especially the kids. And I have such a soft spot for kids. It literally breaks my heart to think that I have a son now, but it's like that's when it really hit me of like there are kids they're crying themselves to sleep because they can't eat, and the family, and I can't even imagine, like, blows my mind that still exists. By the way, if you want to talk about corruption, we have the resources, governments, countries. It would be so easy. World hunger and like underprivileged communities and poverty-stricken countries. It's political games, just so you know. There is more than enough to go with it. Yeah, I can do it, Eric. I'll even show you here some of the stuff we sponsor. I keep this every time I'm having a bad day. I've got a stack of this, so I think we've got like over 80 now. My goal is 1,000. So here it is. It's called World Vision, and so every time you sponsor, well, they say you sponsor family, you sort of kind of don't. Every family is a part of like. So this is, since writing the book, this is the new stack of stuff that came in, and I just have a big stack, and I look through it every time I'm having a bad day. I'm complaining. I feel like giving up. I try and remember why I do what I do, and I have a long list of reasons. So some stuff's around teams, some stuff's around family, and then I always pick these up and I start reading through some of the families that are impacted by the charity we support. And our goal is 1,000 families. So if we could support 1,000 families every single month, that would be sick. It's cool because it's recurring. So you just set it up and you let it ride. Highly recommend if you guys are looking for charities to support. I really, really like it. My end goal, and it's something that's on my vision board, now is not the time, but maybe in a year or two, to do our own foundation. And what I'd love to do is to be able to run a foundation that supports the same type of, like, we would team up with the teams that are on the ground that support stuff like this. But every dollar that's donated to our foundation would go directly to the families, because the operating costs of running that charity or that foundation would be spent, bought for, or whatever, by our operating company. So any staff, any finance, any lawyers, any accountants would be paid by us. So the charity or the foundation, 100% of each dollar, because every charity you support, you have to really go through the due diligence. And I went heavily through the due diligence. So like, obviously not every dollar goes there because they have employees and a team and people to run. But these guys run pretty lean, and then they team up with people in those countries on the ground. And that's how they offset a lot of the costs, because a lot of those people do it for free. So I like this charity. So anyway, that's that. Other than that, let's get into it and wrap this up. Let me.
Vision's big, Lucas. That it inspires me every single time. We have team meetings on Friday and just talk vision and kind of what's in the pipeline and what we're trying to build and what we're trying to do. And the UIG, what we built, is incredible, and we're just getting started. But that's like phase one. You know what I mean? It's really, really incredible what's coming. So just, you guys are literally on the boots on the ground in terms of what's being built. So just want to share that quickly before we get into the wheel of fun here.
I love it. I did start our own publishing company. I didn't want to go through a traditional publisher because I lose control of a lot of things that I want to do. So we have the Underdog Publishing House. I'm a visionary. Like, I'm always thinking vision. One of my visions is with Underdog Publishing House, which is who published the book, but distribution is through Amazon. So Amazon always gets a piece of it. But distribution through Amazon, but we own the rights to the book. We own the ISBN. We own the book. I'd love to build the audience for books to a size where I've got a few books in my head. Me and Colin want to partner on a financial education book. But either way, I have a few books in my mind, but I'd love to get experts and people who really specialize in something, who may not have an audience to launch to. And then we could literally help them with writing the book, getting it edited, and getting distribution, and then have an audience to launch to. So we can almost partner with, people who want to be authors or people who want to write books. And then instead of them going through a major publisher, they could go through us, and then a piece of each sale would still go to charity, but the person who wrote the book would get way more than going through a traditional publisher. So I've got I'm really big on alignment. Like, what's the end goal? And then how do you build for the now? So instead of getting overwhelmed by like, how do we donate $3 million a year and have this big publishing company and this and that, it's like, take your first step. Okay, write a book, start your publishing company, get distribution through Amazon, build the audience around it. Once we've sold, hundreds of thousands of books, and we can prove it, instead of then we can start bringing on authors or bringing in people who want to write a book and launch it. We can actually help them through the process, help them launch it. Now they're making money through each sale, but we're also getting a piece of it that goes to the charity. And so it's just like, I don't know if that gives you an insight into how we think about stuff, but yeah, we didn't go through. I like to own my ISB and I like to own my work, and just like Bitcoin. So we did our own. Anyway, okay, enough about that. We are adding entrepreneurship and this big mindset section. So UIG is expanding in the new year to not just investing, but income and the internal game. So the book that we're writing has the internal game and the entrepreneurship income piece, how to think, the psychology of it, and really start thinking entrepreneurship. So gives you a little insight into what we're working on there. Okay, let's spin the wheel and pick a winner. This is the book. I write my manuscripts in a thing called Readsy. There's really 10 chapters. Right now it's 25,000 words for the new one, and it alternates between entrepreneurship and investing, and it's all the psychological, emotional game in it. So chapter 2 is basically inversion. Munger has a line, tell me where I'm going to die so I won't go there. And I love it because there's 2 lessons from that before we spin the wheel. Maybe I'll just add is you can read this 2 ways. One is don't die. Don't lose all your capital. That's one. But 2 is ask the question, okay, I really want to be successful. Actually, while we're spinning the wheel in the chat, I really want to be successful in crypto. Think, what are all the ways that I could lose? And I want to see them in the comments because there's a lot of wisdom in here. What are all the ways that I could lose? That's Charlie Munger's, he made it famous, inversion. Then just don't do that. What are some ideas? Take on massive leverage, volatile assets, day trade. Like, just write them all down, make a list for yourself, and they'll be like, just never ever do that. Tell me where I'm going to die, and I'm just going to avoid going to that exact location. Tell me how I can lose all my capital. Tell me how I can fail as an entrepreneur. Tell me how I can fail as a human. Tell me how, write it all down, and then just never ever do that. The second you're about to do it, understand that you're entering the territory of where you're going to die. And you are taking on the chance that that could be your day in this example, right? So chapter 2 is all about inversion. And I'm so huge on that. How do you fail as an entrepreneur? It cuts out all the bullshit. Then there's really only 2, 3, 4 things left for you to focus on. So that's kind of gives you a flavor of what the book is about. Each chapter is about 8 to 10 pages, and we go deep on each mental model ultimately. Okay, with that said, we're going to make that book as close to free as we can. I kind of think of it like the lost chapters. So the stuff I wish made it in the first book, this is for that. All right, we're going to spin the wheel, Colin. I know you have to drop out soon, so I'm going to get into it right now. So here's the wheel. It is going to be completely random. I am very open to doing this again. If you got the book but did not submit a photo, or you never got the book in time, maybe we'll do a round 2 of this. I have emails for every single person here, and we will email you. If you are here live, then we'll just settle it very quickly. I'm going to get your MetaMask public wallet, not your private keys, of course, and we're going to send you CBBTC, so Bitcoin over the base chain, and we might be able to wrap that up today. If you're not here live when you win, then we're gonna have to we'll email you. Deal? Is everyone ready? Everyone's good? Everyone's ready? I hope I have it set up right. I think I just click and it's gonna spin. Colin, you can see my screen, right?
Yep, I could see the wheel now. Yep.
I'm going to, I think, click the wheel. I think it's gonna spin for a while and it'll randomly stop. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Sweet.
Ooh, drum roll. Here we go.
This stuff stresses me out. I want everyone to win. That's what's.
Oh,
Dude,
Chris.
I don't know if anyone deserves it more than Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Nice.
Everyone in here deserves it, but Chris has been such a champion of what we do, and has supported us, has been to our live event. Chris, congrats. I think I saw you on this call, and I know you fairly will get your send me your MetaMask public wallet, and you'll get CBBTC over base. If you have any issues with that, or if you're not entirely sure how to receive that, then we'll make sure we actually help you out with it. So big congrats to Chris. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That really, really excites me. I want everyone to win, just so we know. Everyone in here deserves it. So good. Thanks for playing the game, guys. Colin, if you got to drop off, you got to drop
I
off.
do. Yeah, I do. I have another call like right now, and
Drop
usually
off.
late.
I'm going to
So
wrap up with the crew here. I'm happy to do a quick,
thanks, guys.
even like a thanks, Colin. Thank you for
Yeah,
being here.
thanks, Lucas.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for your
Thank you.
support.
Congrats, Chris. Talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Chris, Chris, send me your MetaMask public wallet, right? Just so we're aware, and we'll send you base. Now, if you do want anything else to make it easier, we're happy to send it to you $1,000 worth of whatever you want. I like Bitcoin because it's an asset. We talked about inflation. Just buy it, forget about it, put it aside. But whatever supports you best, you just let me know. For everyone else, I'm really open to doing this more consistently, especially if people are buying books again. Happy to do this a little more consistently. And is there anything I can help with? I'm happy to hang out for another 10 minutes. Like any specific questions, something that came up from reading the book or through your own journey of investing or entrepreneurship or anything. Chris, I think I can. I will confirm with you on that. I think we can. I don't see why we can't. If you shoot us an email to the same email, so book@cryptolabsresearch.com, maybe make this subject line, I won. And every time we do this, not a bunch, but we'll always have a few scammers pretending to be the person. So, just send the email from the same email that you emailed us in so we can just triple check, confirm, and then set us the instructions on how you want your Bitcoin, and we'll make sure we hook you up. Tangent for sure, Chris. Tangent we can do for sure. Yes, sir. Any questions? Any way that I can help y'all's out? When was the point where you accepted, realized you were making it? Was it an aha moment or just built and follow a plan? I work with a therapist. This literally just came up last week. As I felt, so it's strange. I have moments where I panic over small things at times, and it's so deeply ingrained. I grew up in a trailer park, and it was always like felt like everything was struggle and survival, and um, like that energy was in the air a lot. My parents were awesome; they did awesome things, but that was there. So I think I've been going through a season over the last probably year, and now really doing the work on it, where it's like actually allowing myself to feel that. And I think the fear behind it was, if I allow myself to feel it, will I slow down? I love the game. I love playing the game. Um, and so it's interesting you say that because it came up a few times. I have moments where it's like, ooh, but then there's also like it's like I can almost guarantee you that I feel like I made it. I have moments, and I'm sure any dad can relate to this, where it's like I'm sitting there, I got a ton on my mind, ton of things to do, blah blah blah, and it's like my son comes and hugs me, and it's like, and just wants to lay with me, and it's like time stops, and I'm literally like, I I made it in that moment. Or now when he says dada when he every time he hears an engine because he just relates it to me because I have loud cars and I'm always pulling in. And there's like, I'm just like, okay, I made it. Like that I can feel when it comes to finances and like success. It's like I feel like I'm like 1% of my potential and where I could be. And so I think it's a sliding scale and a fine line. Um, Something that I've been experimenting quite a bit, but I wouldn't say like it's like, oh, I made it and like my work is done. Um, my work has just begun. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, I will say that my first 100K that I had extremely liquid was, I can remember the moment where I was like, "Oh my god, I can breathe." The first million, the first 2, the first 5 million liquid, like it just became numbers after that. And I have a goal for 100 million. Like I know that won't make me feel any different. It's like the feeling of like, "Oh, I got 3 months of runway. Oh, my bills are paid. Oh, I've got a breathing room." That I do remember that moment. I remember the first yeah, like that. I remember my first, so I started in fitness and I quit the rigs, which was good money, and I started losing a ton of money. Nothing was working. And I remember the first time I got my first client, and I was like, if I could do that, if I could just do this 100 more times, I've made it. And I remember that excitement much more than like, oh, you've worked with thousands of clients. It's like, okay, well, it's just 2050. Doesn't change anything. So, and then everyone else, I think, has a different definition of making it. You have to get really, really clear on what that is for you. Can I hit one more? Any other question? Is there any ways I can ramp beside a centralized exchange? There are more and more options for that. Unless I'm not aware, I mean, everything was going to be KYC'd unless there's something I'm not aware of. I on-ramp through a centralized exchange. And I really have no problem with that. I think centralized exchanges serve their purpose. Maybe someone else in here is aware of a way to do it without. Okay. You touched on it, the book. Was your account frozen? Yep. Yep. It wasn't frozen, but Canadians were threatened to do so. Again, whether you support the cause or not, that's not the point. I'll never I don't know. I would say I lean a little more one way, probably politically and ideology wise, and like just thinking wise. But I would never make anyone else pay for their beliefs unless they get right. Again, who says what's radical and not? This is such a loaded topic, but I'm talking once it gets radical, you're harming other people, you're hurting other people. That's where I'm like, okay. But in terms of like a political stance or a dude, I don't care if you're freaking if you like I really don't care if you believe that leaves are um sacred. Well, I guess they are on a spiritual plane, but you know what I'm getting at. I don't care if you believe that I don't care if you believe that paper plates are sacred and you choose to do a peaceful protest for plates or something. Like, I don't care. Now, if you're throwing plates at cars on the highway, you get the point, and like whatever. So what I'm getting at is I would never wish harm upon those people or want their accounts frozen or whatnot. And so I think I don't care who you vote for. I don't care. Like it doesn't. I don't want harm to come onto you. And so freezing accounts or changing the law. It was a peaceful protest, and then they just decided to change it and make it illegal, and they were penalizing anyone who wanted to support that. To me, I'm like, all right. I don't agree with that, and that goes both ways. Whether you're supporting whatever political party or whatever, I'm just like, I may not agree, but I don't want harm onto you. And so that's where my line was drawn of like, all right. And if you ever get excited for the harm of someone or a law changing or something bad happening to someone else who believes and sees differently than you, and a power that be makes that happen, then just understand that if that can happen to them, the pendulum swings over and over and over. It is just a matter of time for it to happen to you. So to me, I'm just like, we should all be fighting the common enemy, not like, and the Canada's not too bad, but I know in the States, and I love the US, and I love Americans, but man, there's heat. It's always sizzling. You can literally feel it depending what city you're in. And there's so much division. And I'm just like, you do know that we are attacking the wrong. We're labeling the enemy wrong. Like we're attacking each other. Our attention, and I do believe that's by design. We don't need to talk about all that, but anywho, anything else? Any one more here? Reading the book about your Playa del Carmen, would you say that you started in crypto in an advantageous time? It's easy to say that now. When I got into it, I did not feel that because I saw Bitcoin used to be $200 or 2,000 or 15,000 or $1. Bitcoin used to be pennies. So I'd say it would have been more advantageous to join then. At the time, I was terrified because I'm like, whoa, is this am I too late? But I read the research and I'm like, it's only inevitable that it gets bigger. I think entering now, it would have been more, the numbers just don't lie. It would have been more advantageous. I think I'm saying that word right. 5 years ago. But in 5 years ago, everyone who got in now, people 5 years ago will be asking that same question of like, man, you were so lucky you got in at 2025 or whatever. It's 2030 now. And you know, and some point, you know, Bitcoin's a million. It's like, man, anyone who got in at under 100K, like crazy. It always feels that way. That's literally the game that we play with ourselves, and it's also why people don't jump in on more traditional investments as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, of course, more advantageous the earlier you are on anything, but just like anything, I know someone, I just met them today because we do some work together. They're 19 and they're already investing. Like the compound effect of them just investing 500 a month over 20 years at even moderate returns. I didn't start really heavily investing until I was 28. They got 8 years on me, and that compound effect down the road is massive. So it would have been better to invest when I was 20. It's like the best time to invest was a freaking 100 years ago, or 50, or 20, or 10. And the best time, the second best time is today. Literally everyone on this call, go buy $1 of Bitcoin. If you're terrified to get into, I don't want to tell you what to do because I'm crossing legal lines here. Don't go buy Bitcoin. But I would highly recommend that you seriously think about taking, you know, $1 and investing it in at least something, putting the rep in. Yep. It was also really hard. Yeah. Crypto, blockchain, everything was really, really hard back then. It's a lot easier now. That's true. Yep. I genuinely believe I get overwhelmed sometimes. I felt so much freaking pain today over the again, I don't know the whole story. I don't look at the news often because I don't see the good that comes out of it, but sometimes you can't help it. And I saw two articles basically back to back. One was a shootout out in where was that? Was that Miami? The recent shooting? Kid got injured, bunch of people died. Again, I don't know the whole context, the whole story, but it doesn't matter. The backstory behind it. That's not good. And I felt so much freaking pain. And then for every reason I'm scrolling and that director got stabbed by his son. And I just like and his wife, and I just like felt the pain of like their last moments. Like imagine just getting shanked by your son, and obviously you don't die right away, so a bunch of stuff's going through your head and you're bleeding out with your wife and you're just like, what the hell? Yeah, Australia, that's right. Australia, that's right. And it's just like I literally got so angry and then depressed and then close to crying, and then I was like, hold up. It's so easy to get even this, like to know that millions of kids are going to sleep tonight without a fucking meal. Um, Blows my mind, and it's so easy to get overwhelmed by that. And it's like, and then you can do the little you can do. And so to me, it's like I think we can get overwhelmed, get angry at the government, get angry at everyone else, like go into that same vibration, which never solves anything. Or it's like, well, what can I do? And I know this sounds kind of silly. It's like you can become better as a human. You can treat other people. You can raise a better family. You can level up your shit. You can spread actually awesome stuff and help as many people as you possibly can. Go write a freaking book if you want to change the world. Like go sit down and write a book for 6 months and release it on something that you're really passionate about, that you think will help others. Like just do something, get involved in something that actually helps others. Feed one freaking person. Go give someone $100 tomorrow. And like, I know that doesn't sound like that is going to solve Australia's problems, or adults getting stabbed by their kids, and who knows the whole story around that. It doesn't matter the story. That's just effed up. And if everyone freaking did that, those problems, hunger, everything would disappear. And I know that's a really big, lofty thing to say, but if you really think through it, it's true. So I'm like, how do you turn that we could call it that pain? How do you turn that pain into some kind of purpose or some kind of fuel to like just go do something good and big? And even by you, honestly, I had a few people attack me. I love cars and I share them. Um, I had to really, really think through that before I did, because I know what that brings. But it's like, you know how many people it's inspired? How many kids have jumped in the car and I let them start? It's like, if my freaking Lamborghini inspires one kid who jumped in it, who like that vision is burned in their mind to do something bigger and that they could get out of their situation they're in, it's like all of the hate, all of the, hey, bro, that must be rented, all of the, who are you to share that? It's all like, I don't give a shit what you think. You get the point. So like, go become successful, go make some money, share about that success, show people what's possible, help one person through it, which you'll help more than one. And like, I feel like you've done your job and you could die. What's that saying? It's like, I was reading about that investor. What's his name? He has that Indian, he has that school in India where they give, I get emotional thinking about it. I don't know why. It's freaking kids, man. But it's underprivileged families in India who have no shot at life. Zero. They're the bottom of the bottom. And he has that scholarship where they have like a 70% success rate. I believe they come in like it's like, I'm gonna butcher this. It's 2 years or something where that organization pours into these kids, like the high IQ kids or whatever, and has them, preps them to pass some exam that gets them into the most prestige universities. And they have like a 60 or 70% success rate. Think about that. Like, these kids are scooped out from having a zero shot at life, given an opportunity, 70% success rate. They pass, they get into these prestigious schools, and they go to America. They freaking get a salary for 60 grand or 70 grand or 80 or whatever, or 100. And story after story of them getting their family out of poverty, all of their family, all of their extended family, all the cousins, all the relatives, buying them homes. They go from mud shack to like, oh, I've been at least given an opportunity. That shit, I was reading that a few weeks ago, and I've been studying this guy, and it's been giving me a ton of fuel for like, I want to do something like that, through our own foundation in our own way. And like, it's just giving people the opportunity, showing them what's possible, et cetera, et cetera. And anyways, in that was something about the idea of like, like helping. It was some spiritual idea, but it was like helping one person. Like, I don't know, something like saves a soul for like thousands of years or something. Like, to save one life is the equivalent of something, something. Anyways, I read it and I was like, yes, that. And all of us in here have the ability to save one life. Guarantee to you. It actually drives me crazy when someone is like, oh, I made some money and I'm good. I can take care of my family. I'm good. It's like, I feel like that is a road to a bit of a, it is, it's such a small fraction of the potential of that human. It's like, sure, yeah, you're taken care of. Cool. Someone said that. It's like, you made it. It was like, okay, cool. I can pay my bills. I got some money. I got a couple $1,000,000. Sweet. And the thought goes through my mind at times. It's like, okay, but it's like, hold up. I don't think God put you here, universe, whatever, replace the language. I don't think you've been put here to just take care of you. I really, really don't. And I honestly really don't think you've just been put here to even take care of your kids and your wife or your husband. That's an awesome purpose. That's an awesome piece of it. But I still don't think it stops there. I think that's you take care of you, agreed. You take care of your family. Agreed. And that's just the starting point to like, okay, now go save a life. Anyways, Chris, right there. It's like you don't. I had a season. This was last year. Yep, this was last year. I've always had mentors. I spend like a lot of money on people to help. I was in a therapy session on Monday, and she's like, I was laughing. I burst out laughing. She's like, we're in a deep session. We're working on some child stuff, and she's got this pen that she's putting across the screen. It's like brain scanning. It's called. We did a deep session, and then we were working out some more subconscious blocks, and I just started laughing. I was like, it was funny to me that like I'm in this session with this woman over Zoom staring at a pen that's going across the screen. Like the humor of it was kind of hilarious. But the point is, I just want to be better. Like I know the better I can be, the better I can do, blah, blah, blah. And the more I can do and the better I can do for others, etc. The better leadership, the more emotional control, the less freaking lashing out. My inner child doesn't freak out and hurt other people because of it. We all do it. It's like I want less of that. So let me heal and let me work on my stuff. But the point is, I had a coach last year who I started feeling kind of like ungrateful and like lackey, and like the balance sheets and everything else would have said, dude, you're crazy. But that's how I felt. And I was like, I don't want to feel this way. And the one thing I loaded up, again, it wasn't like this crazy thing to me at the time. 6 years ago, this would have been possible, but last year it wasn't crazy. I was tasked with the job of giving away $1,000 per day for a length of time. And so I took out a bunch of hundreds. I had 10 hundreds in my wallet every single day. And I was really forced to distribute it along my day. And we lived on a lake at the time. And then like, if you drove 15 minutes, you went into this town that I'd say wasn't the most, there was a lot of struggle in that town. And I'd go on my day, and every time I had the opportunity, I was at Starbucks, someone was outside who was hungry or begging or whatever, giving them $100, give them $100 here. I just go along my day and give it out $100 bills. And after like a day or two, I felt the best I think I've ever felt. And that the point of that exercise reminded me that like giving and helping will give you more feeling of fulfillment and success and happiness than consuming. And I literally just bought the I had the R8, and obviously 2 weeks went by and I wasn't happy with it. And then I was in the process of getting the Lamborghini. Like things were just like, everything was just going great. And I was like, this freaking sucks. Like this is not giving me what I thought it would give me. Duh. But I think you have to really experience it. And then it was tasked with like, cool, Lucas, you have really figured it out. Like you're good. How do you get more involved in any which way you can? How does that become your fuel? What's really funny is when that became more and more of my fuel, even this kid and this charity stuff, it's like my net worth, or we could just call it, I guess, my success, if you want to call it that. My depth of access to finance expanded even quicker. And you will find that to be true across the board. Yep. Anyway, all right, we're done talking. I know it was supposed to be 20 minutes. It's an hour long. Typical Lucas. Get the book. Get the book. If you haven't got the book, get the book. Get the book for someone else. It supports us. It supports the kids, and it'll ultimately support you. And we do have our second book coming. I sat down and just went beast mode, 2 to 9 a.m. yesterday, wrapping it up. I was like, I wanted to get it done by the end of the month, and I was just such in flow. So that's done. And we're just waiting for it to align with the launch of our upgraded community. So, too, we're going to have a third tier. So we're going to have a VIP tier of the UIG. It will be $297 a month. Everyone who's in the UIG right now will be locked into that new one. So we're going to grandfather you into the VIP tier. There's going to be some Zoom rooms. We're building our entrepreneur portal out, our internal game, our mindset portal out. A lot of the stuff we talked about is going to be in there. And it's going to be a 3-pillar approach. We definitely want to think more in terms of holistic success. And there's going to be a multi-tiered approach so people can kind of choose what part they want to be in. Of course, a ton of free stuff. If you don't want to pay for stuff, that's awesome. But if you are in the UIG right now, you will be locked in and upgraded automatically into the VIP tier. Your old price will be locked in. So that's cool. And that work starts next year, early next year. And then that book release will be timed for the release of the new portal. And away we go. So stay tuned for that. Sweet. Awesome. Appreciate y'all's. With that said, I will get out of here and we will see you when we see you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, gals.